Hey guys, Nishquik here, and welcome back to another episode of Nishquik Talks. Sorry for the lack of videos lately. I think some of you guys might know once I got back from vacation, I got hit with a massive cold. I'm still sort of recovering from it, but at least I can talk now. The last couple of weeks, I literally just completely lost my voice. It was really bad. But anyways, I'm back here to talk about the games that I played in 2024, because I realized I played so many video games this year. And near the end of the year, I got a lot more busy, but I still managed to get a lot of games in. And I might make a separate video about the games I'm looking forward to playing next year. And you might notice that a lot of games on this video are older games or games that didn't release this year. And I'm gonna have to play catch up with a lot of 2024 releases that I have yet to play. So before we get started, I just wanted to ask you guys one thing. Did you guys prefer the year of 2023 or 2024 when it came to video games? Because I think once it's all said and done, once I play all the games that I will eventually get to as 2024 new releases, and in terms of the games that I will be talking about in this video, like both new releases and backlog games, I think 2024 might actually beat out 2023 for me. Just in terms of the games that I prefer playing and I personally vibe with, I think this might just be a better year than last year for me personally. But I want to know what you guys think, because 2023 was a stellar year for games, and many people actually just didn't vibe with 2024 in terms of video game releases. So let me know what you think about that in the comments below. So if you enjoy Nintendo games and JRPGs, which I'll be talking about a lot of those in this video, if you enjoy those, give this video a like and subscribe for more content like this. So anyways, I have a list of games on my phone, and I didn't even count how many there are. Give me a sec, I want to count how many games are in this list, and I feel like I missed some. So if I remember some along the way, I'll just talk about them. So I counted 21 games, which is quite a bit. A few of my friends and other people I've seen online have beaten way more, but a lot of these were really long, story-heavy games, so I cut myself some slack, and I'm gonna be going rapid fire on these, just giving you my quick impressions, not full-on reviews or anything. So yeah, and this probably won't be in order as well, because I don't remember exactly what game I was playing in the middle of April, what game I was playing at the beginning of June, and all that. So this is kind of in a jumbled order, but I will say, I'll start off the list with some January games, which I remember I played at the very beginning of the year. First one is the original Final Fantasy VII, which you guys might remember. I made a gigantic video on this. I mean, not really gigantic. For my channel, it's pretty huge. It's like a 45-minute video. It's one of the videos I'm most proud of on this channel. So if you haven't checked that out, the video is called Learning to Love Final Fantasy VII. Highly check it out. I'm really proud of the video. I started FF7 in actually December of 2023 and finished the game in January of 2024. Overall, loved the game, and after playing Final Fantasy VII Remake and going back to the original, I have a newfound appreciation for it. And after thinking about the game, because I was very hard on the game, even in my review, I was just oh, FF7 OG, I'm it's overrated, it's whatever. I had a lot of takes on the game, especially on the visual style of it. But you'll hear later that I played more PS1 games, and I now have a newfound appreciation for the game, and especially the story. And I might talk about that a little more on the channel, but that's my experience with FF7 OG. It was a great way to start my Final Fantasy VII binge, which I continued with Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. I think I played that before Crisis Core, so I played those games kind of back to back. Actually, I think I started with Crisis Core first, because I was still fresh with the original story of Final Fantasy VII in my mind, Cloud, Zack, Sephiroth, all that. And I wanted to see what Crisis Core did to represent those characters in its own way. So I really enjoyed Crisis Core. I played it on my PC and I played it on Steam Deck, ran perfectly on both of those. Remake Intergrade was weird because I enjoyed it. It was a nice warm-up to playing as Yuffie, but otherwise I didn't really care about it. I was I could have done without this. They could have just teased Yuffie at the end of a remake and then gone straight into Rebirth. I don't really understand the significance of intermission or intergrade or whatever that was. And maybe it'll all come back into part 3 when you have the Wutai War and all that, but in this specific time where I was playing it, I was just like, whatever. It was fun. It wasn't necessarily bad or anything, but it was just kind of could have done without it. I'll get to Rebirth a little bit later, but I also, in the very beginning of the year, I did a crazy Metroid binge, which lasted, I finished off the Metroid binge in the summertime, but I'll talk about all the Metroid games I played. So I started with Zero Mission. Really enjoyed Zero Mission. It was a really quick, snappy, fast-paced game. I beat it in 3 days, and I just overall really enjoyed the game. It kind of rectified some of the issues I had with Fusion. Fusion felt very linear, where Adam was like, oh, Samus, you're here, you need to go exactly here and do this exact thing, and it felt very almost handholdy, which I didn't really like as much because Metroid never felt handholdy. Whereas Zero Mission was like, oh, this is the general area you're supposed to go and figure out how you're supposed to get there. And I was like, oh, that's much better. After that, I played Metroid Samus Returns. Pretty decent game. I didn't vibe with it as much as other people, and I think I was really fed up with the melee counter in that game. The amount of times you use the melee counter in that game just kind of got on my nerves. Some of the boss fights were also a little annoying. Maybe that just speaks to how much I probably sucked at the game, but whatever. I thought it was all right. It wasn't the best. What I really liked about Samus Returns, though, is seeing how Mercury Steam figured out a lot of these tactics and gameplay mechanics and just polished and perfected them so well in Metroid Dread, which is one of my favorite Switch games, one of my favorite Metroid games. Loved it. And then I also finally rolled credits on Metroid Prime 2 and 3 because Nintendo is lazy and Nintendo just doesn't want to give us these games on Switch. So I was like, I'll play them on my own. I'll play them not on the Switch. So I played those games, really enjoyed them. Prime 2, I really loved the backtracking because it's very easy to go to another area of Ether in any area you're currently in. I think Prime 2 does the backtracking the best in the trilogy. In terms of the light world, dark world, I was expecting a little more from that, but what I got was still a lot of fun. Boss fights were fun. Some were a lot more annoying than usual. I have a very weird experience with this game. Spider Guardian, which everyone hated, I actually kind of liked it. It wasn't really difficult for me. I think the Grapple Guardian was the one I was pulling my hair out. Metroid Prime 3 though, I made a tweet about this game where I was like, why does everyone vibe with the other two games so much more than Prime 3? And why does everyone hate on Prime 3 so much? Because Prime 3, I was just having such a fun time with that game. And it's of course, it's not as exploration and Metroidvania focused as the other games, but that cinematic, heavy, high octane action feeling was totally there in Metroid Prime 3. I had a genuinely very good time with Prime 3, and even the story surprised me in how good it was. So I hope they learn from all 3 of these games and make Prime 4 a very polished and perfect game. I hope they take from some of the action elements and the story elements of Prime 3 as well. So next on the list, I'll talk about 2 new releases that I played this year, 2 phenomenal experiences that I had. First of all, Persona 3 Reload. I finally got to experience the story of Persona 3 on my own. Genuinely, I really enjoyed it. It was a very smooth experience with the gameplay, the quality of life features. I was playing it a lot on my Steam Deck, so that made Tartarus a lot more manageable for me. I remember one of my biggest concerns was dude, Tartarus looks so boring, it looks so dull and brainless and whatever. But in Reload, I enjoyed it because it was like the presentation was a little bit better, and the fact that I was playing on handheld made it a lot simpler, because there are times, or there are still times in the week where I just don't feel like playing a massive story chunk of an RPG. So I'm just like, hey, I'll just do some grinding sessions. And in Reload, I would be like, oh, today's a Tartarus day? That's fine. I would just grab my Steam Deck, sit in bed, put on a gaming podcast or a long YouTube video or something, and just have that in the background as I was grinding Tartarus, or join Discord VC with my friends as I was grinding Tartarus. It made things so much more manageable. I'm so glad I played this game a lot on Steam Deck. But overall, I love the story of Persona 3 Reload. I don't know where it ranks in my Persona ranking right now, but I think at least the story is like at the top of the Persona ranking for me. Loved it, great start to the year, loved the ending. I was tearing up at the end, it was so great. And the next game I want to talk about is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This game really surprised me. I was off the heels of Remake, Original, all the other games I played, Crisis Core, Intermission, the original FF7. I went into Rebirth, and I was like, I'm not gonna do any of this open world crap. It looks so boring or whatever. And then I realized in like less than a week, I realized I maxed out all of the world intel things in the grasslands, and then I was doing the same thing in Junon. And I was like, this is fun because it's like giving you a lot of benefits that you can buy more materia, you can spec up your characters in the folio section. Like I enjoyed that kind of gameplay loop. In some aspects, it got a little bit like formulaic and repetitive and all that stuff, but wasn't as well done as it is in like Future Redeemed, but it sort of gave me that Future Redeemed vibe. Like, if you guys have played both Future Redeemed and Rebirth, let me know in the comments if you guys sort of got that same vibe. Not many people were talking about that. Rebirth wasn't a perfect experience though. Like, of course, mini games were like a lot. I skipped out on most of them, so that wasn't an issue. Some of the pacing things, like the infamous Kate Sit box, oh my god, that was ridiculous. I did not have fun during that time, but also like the story was fun. I enjoyed the story, but looking back at it now, many months later, there are some issues I have with it here and there. This whole remake project, I have a lot of questions surrounding it still, even after Rebirth, and I didn't expect to have that feeling. And I have a lot of thoughts on that, so maybe another video coming in the future. I don't want to overpromise anything. Oh, so there are some games where I did either replays of, or I just left them unfinished and I went back to finishing them. Like Fire Emblem Engage. I left that unfinished last year, so I was like, hey, let's go back into Engage and finish it off. And overall, great game, fun game. No one is playing this game for the story, so whenever I see like long video essays or like takes on this game, like just only talking about the story, and I'm like, did you really go into this game expecting Fire Emblem Three Houses? Did you really? I don't know. I never got that vibe from even the first trailer of Engage. So I went into this game and immediately I was like, oh, this is good. I didn't have like a shock or anything. And of course, the story is corny, the ending is corny, but I still enjoyed the characters. The characters were fun to talk with, interact with, have in your party. I liked their gimmicks, I liked their design. I liked how they each had their kind of own role to play. And the gameplay and the combat and the tactics gameplay is just so perfect. I love the emblem ring system. Speaking of Fire Emblem, I went back and finished off my Golden Deer New Game Plus. And not only that, I played Cindered Shadows. So now I have a full, like, more like expansive opinion and like viewpoint, I guess, on Fire Emblem Three Houses as a game, because I only played Crimson Flower originally, and I was like, whatever. Good game. Story was alright. Wished it was longer. Wished they answered more questions. Wished the story kind of vibed with me more. And I love the Golden Deer house. I love all the characters in the house. I think, like, I'm playing through Blue Lions right now, But even in the end of Blue Lions, I think I'll vibe with Golden Deer and Verdant Wind the most because of the cast and the characters and Claude himself, the story they told. I finally got to experience the thing I was waiting for with Three Houses is to experience that final chapter with God-Shattering Star, and it didn't disappoint. I loved it. It was great. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really glad that I got to experience that game. All right, what's next on the list? Oh, let's talk about some Mario games I played, because I borrowed 2 of these games from my friend because I was like unsure of how much I would like them, so I didn't want to commit to like actually buying them. So first one was Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I enjoyed the game. It was great. I thought it was good. I don't know if it's like a game that I'm going to remember forever, and like I think overall it's better, like the game overall is better than the new Super Mario Bros. Games. But I think the nostalgia and memories I have with the new Super Mario Bros. Games are going to like remain stronger than my memories I had with Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And that's not like a knock on Mario Wonder or anything, but like, and another thing is I'm not like a huge 2D platformer guy, but I felt like some of the Wonder mechanics felt a little gimmicky sometimes, and like they were still fun overall, but I felt like I wish that there was originality and creativity within the levels themselves instead of having to pull like a Wonder seed and be like, oh, now it's cool, now it's unique and all that. But otherwise, it was still a great game, still enjoyed it. And before I continue on with my take on the next game, I just wanted to let you guys know, give this video a like, subscribe for more content like this. If you haven't done so already, I would really appreciate it, because I feel like with what I'm about to say in my next entry, you guys will probably just dislike the video and unsubscribe and leave. So do it for your buddy Nishquik Pops. Come on. Yeah. Speaking of which, Mario RPG. This game was hyped up to me ever since I was a kid. I remember I actually got it on Wii Virtual Console, but I never got around to playing it because I was like, dude, Mario RPG, everyone's talking about this game online, everyone says it's good, everyone says it's fun, the music is so cool, all that. Kind of psyched myself up. And then I was like going to play it somehow on, I was either gonna like dust off my Wii or figure out some other way to play it, but then they announced the remake and I was like, oh, cool. Everyone was excited, everyone was hyping it up, the game came out, everyone was like, oh my god, Mario RPG, it's so much fun. I love Geno, I love Mallow, I love all these characters, and then I played it, and I don't know how to say this, guys, I don't know how to say this, but as I continued playing the game, I was waiting for the game to impress me. I don't know, this is also me coming from other turn-based games, SMT, Persona, Final Fantasy, even Pokemon, which like, I'm talking about like classic Pokemon, which had like a lot of challenge and a lot of like cool like gameplay mechanics that they introduced. I really enjoyed the timed attack mechanic in Mario RPG, but don't know what it was. I think for me, I'm going to try to explain this the best as I can. Fans of Mario RPG, I apologize in advance, but the story just, it felt like I was playing through a children's television show. Like, you know, like whenever I like go visit my like nephews and nieces, and like they're much younger and they watch these kinds of shows, and I'm like, as I was playing Mario RPG, I was like, what am I doing? What am I like? What is going on? It just feels so out of place for me. So I was searching for something that I would vibe with in the game. Battle system was fun, music was fun. Other than that, I was just like ready to finish off with the game and just move on to something else. I'm very sorry, guys. I'm really trying to do a better job with not letting other people's hype get to me. But when games like Mario RPG and Paper Mario A Thousand Year Door are hyped so much, naturally my expectations are going to be a little higher. I mean, of course, I wasn't expecting like Final Fantasy VII kind of story, Final Fantasy IX, or like a Xenoblade story. Everyone's like, Nishquik, oh, you went into this expecting Xenoblade. I'm like, no, I didn't go into this expecting Xenoblade, because I also played Bowser's Inside Story when I was a kid, and I still remember some of that story, and it was kind of mind-blowing what they did with like Bowser and Fawful and the Dark Star and all that. I wished for some cooler stuff with the story. Smithy Gang was alright, but just didn't vibe with me. And I will say, Thousand Year Door is on my shelf. I think I will definitely enjoy that a lot more than Mario RPG, but I will say, the expectation is there, so I hope it lives up to it. And if not, it's fine. There's many other Mario games I enjoy, many other RPGs and turn-based games I also enjoy. But that's whatever. I just had to get that off my chest. More replays I did. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I finished off my replay and I did Future Connected, so it was a New Game Plus run for me. In Xenoblade Definitive Edition, like base game, I did a New Game Plus run, finished it off. Future Connected, I think I just did a full-on new game. I didn't do a New Game Plus. It kind of reminded me of how much I love this game, how much I love these characters, this world, this series, and it was a great warm-up to Xenogears. It was a great, like, kind of warm-up to what I was going to experience in Xenogears, kind of getting back into the mindset of Xeno, Tetsuya Takahashi kind of storytelling. And it was as great as I remember it, and it was sort of the catalyst to get me to make that video on my channel called In Defense of Xenoblade Chronicles 1. It's not like the game really needs defending much or anything, but I just thought like, hey, there's some like people who don't vibe with Xenoblade 1 as much as the others. I just wanted to make a video on how Xenoblade 1 stands apart from the other games, how it stands on its own, how it's unique. And this replay really reminded me of that, really got me back into the roots of myself as a Xenoblade fan, and it's always that ending that always gets to me. Sarah Alon's amazing song, Beyond the Sky, and just that beautiful ending, so great. Yeah, Xenoblade 1, great. Future Connected, also great. I really vibed a lot with Future Connected this time around. After playing Torna and Future Redeemed now, I have the context of the whole series, and Future Connected story-wise isn't like the best or anything, but like, I think it sets up decently for the future of the series. After playing Future Redeemed, looking back at it, I'm like, oh, this stuff makes sense. And then I like that it's very exploration and side quest focused, because the side quests and the exploration really kind of benefit you as a character by giving you like good gear and gems and arts and all that stuff. So overall, fun time, fun, chill time. I did a Future Connected as to kind of pass the time between the end of the Metaphor demo that I played and then the start of the official release. So it was a good kind of side game to play. And then another replay I did was Bloodborne, because I don't talk about Souls games much on the channel, but I really love the From Software games, and I was wanting to do a Bloodborne replay for a very long time because I really vibe with that game, really vibe with the combat. Very, very nostalgic game for me because it was my first From Software game, really got me into the mindset of those games and kind of taught me that I can play these kinds of games. And I loved my replay of Bloodborne. I went and did some bosses and some areas that I didn't do in my first playthrough, like Castle Cainhurst. Got to fight Martyr Logarius, which is, in my opinion, the hardest fight in the base game. Loved it so much. And I did Old Hunters for the very first time. I did the Bloodborne DLC, and I was absolutely blown away because I was kind of doing this as like, hey, I'll do Bloodborne DLC, and then I'll do Shadow of the Erdtree. But then I just didn't, like, I just didn't feel like I was in the mood for Shadow of the Erdtree for some reason. I'll get to that eventually, but I feel like I'll do a Dark Souls 1 replay, I'll finish off Demon Souls, and then I'll do Shadow of the Erdtree. Yeah, Old Hunters, was absolutely phenomenal. Some of my favorite fights in all of From Software, like Ludwig, Maria. Maria was so much fun. Maria took everything that I loved of Father Gascoigne and made it even more fun in a tougher DLC fight. So yeah, great DLC. I'll always remember it. Orphan of Kos, overhyped, fun fight, not as hard as I thought it would be, honestly. But it was a great time. I really enjoyed it. Oh, and one more quick thing, like kind of like a replay or a game that I finished off was, of course, Xenoblade Chronicles X. A lot of you guys saw that on my channel. I live streamed the my final few chapters of the game. Like, you guys saw me failing and stumbling and picking myself back up. Like, you guys remember how it took me like 2 hours to fight Zufarg? That was hilarious. I'll never, ever forget that. But the fact that I had people in my live chat cheering me on and like being there with me during that time made it all the more better and the more fun. And it was like a highlight of the year to experience the ending of this game live on my channel and seeing it with some of like my Xenoblade friends like Dumb Xeno and Perfect Works, Vengeful Magus, like Yggdrasil. You guys are all there in the chat, so shout outs to you guys for being there. And seeing me experience the end of Xenoblade X, it was a great time. One of my favorite memories of the channel. And we're getting Xenoblade X DE again. My biggest hope is that we're able to experience the epilogue right from the start, so I don't have to play the game all over again. Like, I don't mind playing the game all over again. I usually like replaying Xeno games. Like, I have a replay of Xenoblade 2, Xenoblade 3, and Xenogears in mind. Like, so like I'm definitely going to continue playing XDE, but I want to keep the main story base game stuff for like live streaming and like casual play. Like when I get home from work, I just want to play something, I'll probably play X, and not something like super story focused. But if the epilogue is available from the beginning, I'm just gonna get that out of the way ASAP so I can know what's happening, because the ending is still very fresh in my mind since I just played it this summer. So yeah, Xenoblade X, loved it, great game. Get excited for that definitive edition, guys. I'm so excited for all of you guys who have yet to play the game. Xenoblade X is done, so now to talk about some of the backlog games that were just absolute highlights for me. So, 2 games which I'm going to talk about back to back. So if you guys remember, at the very beginning of the year, I had 4 games on my like New Year's resolution where I was like, I'm going to knock these games out of my backlog. Like, I promise I will knock them out of my backlog. And I was halfway there. So, and one of those games, there was an exception to that. I'll get to that in a bit. But those were Final Fantasy IX, Xenogears, Final Fantasy X, and Trails in the Sky First Chapter. Trails in the Sky First Chapter was announced, like, we're getting a remake of that, so I'll just wait till the remake. But I did not, unfortunately, get to Final Fantasy X because after the 2 games I'm going to talk about soon, I just felt a little burnt out with turn-based RPGs, and I was like, I'll take a little bit of a break, maybe get to Final Fantasy X near the end of the year. But then Metaphor took a very long time, so I was just like, I'll push Final Fantasy X to next year, where I'm like fully rejuvenated and ready to experience that game. But Final Fantasy IX, wow, this was a game where I was like, should I play this? Should I wait for the remake? And I'm going to be honest, guys, I am so happy and so glad that I did not wait to play this game. Because regardless of what the remake does, this version of the game is going to stand on its own. So I played with the Mogiri mod without, like, I played it right before the massive updates that, like, added more visual styling to the game. So the version that I played, you can see a lot of the footage I recorded in my Final Fantasy IX review. It still looks pretty true to form, but it just looks like a much better remaster of the game. I love this game. I love the story. I love the characters. very down-to-earth characters like Zidane, Garnet, Vivi. Vivi's not one of my favorite like JRPG characters. I loved all of them. Something that stuck out to me was the music, because in the beginning I was like, oh, Final Fantasy VII OST is better. Like, there's a lot of songs that I vibe with more in 7 OST, and I kept listening to the 9 OST, and then I found out that I was listening to it, like, outside of playing the game, I was listening to some songs on Spotify. And then I got farther into the game, and I heard some of those leitmotifs, and I was like, my mind was just blown. I was like, this is doing everything I, like, love about, like, JRPG and video game OSTs. It is doing that full force. Telling a story with the soundtrack, calling back to, like, earlier moments with the music. It's just so good. And I actually have a full video on this coming soon on the channel. It is a script that is actually complete. I just need to record and edit the video. It'll come out sometime next year though. But it's an experience I'll never forget. It's I elaborate more in my review, but it really, like, of course I played 7 and I understood like the PS1 RPG vibe, but this is the game that just made it click. And I was like, I need to play more of these games. I need to play Xenogears, which was next. I need to play Legend of Dragoon. I need to play Parasite Eve. I need to, like, experience that Squaresoft magic, because with 7, with 9, with Xenogears, I experienced that magic, and I was like, Legend of Dragoon is not Squaresoft, but, like, of course, more of those kinds of games. Chrono Cross, Parasite Eve, like, a lot of these games that really stand out in that era of gaming. Speaking of Xenogears, oh my god, I don't know where to start and how to describe my experience with this game. It is everything I wanted it to be, and everything that I also didn't expect. Like, some of you guys know, I knew a lot of the story of Xenogears going into it, but of course there were still a lot of surprises that just blew me away. I have a lot of video ideas in mind about this game, one that is being scripted right now, but the thing that surprised me the most about Xenogears is I finally got an understanding of what Perfect Works is and how that is perfectly implemented into the Xenoblade games. Funnily enough, Xenogears made me appreciate Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3 that much more. Not only that, but words cannot describe how good this story is. It is a story and a narrative and a experience that I have literally been thinking about every single day since I beat the game. And one thing I did not expect is the personal impact this game had on me. That is, like, a topic that I don't know if I'll ever get to on the channel anytime soon, because it's a very, like, deep, personal, like, thing I would want to talk about. But it's a game that made me, like, understand myself more, understand, like, prior experiences in my life more, and I just accepted myself as a person more after playing Xenogears and experiencing certain moments within the story. It's very hard to explain. If you guys like Xenoblade Chronicles, JRPGs, and classic RPG experiences, drop whatever you're doing right now and play this game. I'll finish my Xenogears segment by saying this. Recently, there was a Twitch streamer and channel by the name of Neomatter. Shoutouts to him, really cool guy. And I was, like, keeping up with some of his Xenogears progress because he played the game this year. And his review of the game is actually perfect. It's actually perfect. I need to find it and read it out to you guys. Here is his, like, quick Twitter review after beating the game. After 29 days, we finally wrapped up our first playthrough of Xenogears, an incredible experience from start to finish. Everything, and I mean everything, was perfect. One of the greatest games I've ever played, hands down. 1 million out of 10. Peak, I tell you, peak. Honestly, guys, this game is, like, it is fractured, it is broken. There's so many problems in it, but when a game is this good that you're willing to look over all the problems, it just speaks to the magnitude of impact that it has. Like, for me, I had issues with it, I had problems with it, but I don't care. I don't care about I don't care about disc 2. I don't care about like the messy gameplay. I don't care about any of that. All I care about is how perfect the game was, because to me, it was perfect. You'll be hearing me talk about that game a lot more on the channel. Shadow of the Colossus is a game that I've always had on my backlog. I played the game this year. Really cool game. Really cool game. I was expecting... I don't think I was expecting more, but we'll say this. I was expecting more from this being the remake that I played, because some of the Colossi still had very weird and very awkward ways to take them down. And there were some times where I was literally like soft locked. I think it was the Bull Colossus. I was literally soft locked into that fight because it takes so long for your character to get up. So I was headbutted into the wall. It takes so long for him to get up. Then I was headbutted again into the wall. It takes so long for him to get up. And then boom, again and again. So some kind of like things like that were a little iffy with me, which like a lot of people say like amazing experience, perfect experience. I don't think it was like that for me. The most annoying fight for me was the turtle, the giant turtle, where you're riding on aggro. You have to like flip him over. No, you don't have to flip him over, but you have to like hit his, like the bottom of his leg, I think, and then climb up the turtle. It was a very convoluted and very weird kind of boss. Some of them were really fun. Like the underwater one was a lot of fun. The final fight was a lot of fun. The penultimate fight was amazing. Even like the bull was fun despite like the janky stuff to it. The flying one was a lot of fun. Using your sword to navigate around the overworld was a little annoying. Slight nitpicks. I will say the game wrapped up very well with that ending. The ending really blew me away. I was kind of surprised with the twist in the ending. I won't spoil it, but it was very good. What's next on the list? We're almost done. Donkey Kong Country 2 and Donkey Kong Country Returns. I played Donkey Kong Country 1 with my friend who lives in Vancouver. Like, we played it online through Nintendo Switch Online during the pandemic. And then we went through a little bit of DKC2, but never completed it. So then I was like, oh, I'll just play it on my own this year. I remember like one of my best memories of that game was watching the absolutely abysmal Summer Games Fest with my friends on Discord. While they were watching it and reacting to it, I was just playing Donkey Kong Country 2 on my Switch. I'm at least here chilling in VC, but playing the game on my Switch. That was my experience. I loved playing the game on handheld. I loved playing the game with my 8-bit Do Pro controller. That was a really great experience. And then I love the game. Amazing level design, phenomenal music, phenomenal visuals for the Super Nintendo. And you know what I was saying about Mario Wonder, where I wish the game didn't need the Wonder Seeds to like be creative? That's what I felt about DKC2. It didn't need any kind of gimmick to feel good. And if it added a gimmick, like an animal friend or like a gimmick to the level, it added to the already existing creativity of that level that was already there inherently. Tight controls, great difficulty. I abused the save states though. So Donkey Kong Country Returns. I played that game this year as well. Great game. I think the biggest problem I had with it personally, surprisingly, was the fact that they were reusing so much music. It was sort of an issue I also had on Metroid Samus Returns. I forgot to mention that. The fact that they were reusing so much music, it didn't feel original. And especially with Samus Returns, it was reusing music and it was reusing sound effects. So it didn't feel individual in how Metroid games have that individual kind of like sound experience, auditory experience. Same with DKC, not as much, but I was like, oh, I remember the song from DKC 1, I remember this song from I was like, give me some original good music. The level design in that game was great though. I love the additional kind of mobility that Donkey Kong has, and it was a great game overall, really good game. I don't know if it beats out the first two DKC games for me. Last game on the list is Metaphor Fantasio. If you guys have been following my progress on Twitter and Blue Sky and all that, you guys know that I've been enjoying this game quite a bit, and I've recently completed it. I've been thinking about the ending quite a bit. Really, really, really awesome game. Really great game. And I really vibed with it for a lot of reasons, and I'm very excited to talk about it more on the channel. I kind of want to leave it off at that. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about my opinions on Metaphor other than saying that it exceeded my expectations in some ways, it met my expectations in some ways, and there are some things that I still wished for more of. So overall, maybe not like the most perfect experience I wanted, but this is a top tier, very good, very high quality modern JRPG. I think it's like one of the modern games of this decade that I played that has like blown me away the most, next to Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Take that for what you will. I'll have more of my thoughts of the game later. I have some cool projects in the works as well. So that's all the games on my checklist. This video ended up being much, much longer than I thought it would be. I'm gonna shorten it down a bit because I rambled on quite a bit, but here's a little bit of a tease for some of the games I've not played and games I am currently playing and games that I will talk about sometime next year probably. I'm playing Astrobot right now. It's really surprising me how good that game is. So I'm really enjoying that. I'll finish it off soon. I have purchased Echoes of Wisdom, so I've not gotten to that yet, but I will get to that eventually. I have also purchased Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. I'll get to that eventually. Other 2024 games that I purchased but not played yet are Stellar Blade, Unicorn Overlord, and I'll get to those eventually as well. There are two games, you guys might already know what they are, but there are two games that I'm currently kind of playing on the side right now, which I will make a video on soon. So if you guys saw the community post, you guys might know what those two games are, which I'm playing on Steam Deck. Outside of that, there's so many other backlog games I want to get into, which I will probably not talk about right now, but I'm very excited. But anyways, let me know what you guys thought about this video, about my takes, about my distaste towards Mario RPG. And yeah, I hope you guys get to play some of these games that I played this year, and I really enjoyed this year. I think this year honestly rivals 2023 for me, and it honestly might have been better. Once I get to playing all those like new releases, Astro, Echoes of Wisdom, Stellar Blade, Unicorn, all those games, then I think I might truly appreciate 2024 more than 2023. Personally for me, based on the games that I personally vibe with, I think this game might just edge out 2023 a little more. But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. What games did you play? What were your favorite games of 2024? What games did you check off your backlog? Let me know in the comments below. And like always, give this video a like, subscribe for more content like this, and maybe even join as a Nishquik Pops member for more additional perks. This is Nishquik signing off. Have a great day. Go play some great games today. Like many amazing games that came out this year and many amazing games that might be on your backlog. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later. Hey guys, this is Nishquik. Thank you so much for watching that video. And if you enjoyed it, check out these two videos on the left and maybe subscribe if you haven't on your way out. And big shout out to all my channel members whose names you can see on the screen right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.